Shabbos Daf Zayin. We're discussing glassware and how in some ways it's similar to earthenware and how in some ways it's similar to metalware when it comes to Tumah. There are 5 differences between metalware and earthenware. The first one is Pshute Kli Cheres. If the Kli Cheres is flat and the metalware is flat, Kli Cheres is not Mekabel Tumah, metalware is Mekabel Tumah. In this case, glass is similar to Cheres, to earthenware. Second thing is that earthenware is not Mekabel Tumah from the outside. If you touch a sheretz to the outside of the kli, it's not Mekabel Tumah, whereas metalware is Mekabel Tumah. In that, glass is similar to metal. And we're going to discuss why that is. Third halacha is that if earthenware or metalware have a hole in a tamei kli, that makes the tumah go away. What happens if you repair the hole? If it's earthenware, the tumah does not come back. If it's metalware, the tumah comes back. And by glass, the tumah does not come back like earthenware. Fourth halacha is tefillah. If you take a kli that's tamei and you put it in the mikvah, if it's earthenware, it does not become tar. If it's metalware, it does become tar. When it comes to glass, it does not become tar. And finally, the fifth halacha, the amazing concept of aver, the ear space of a earthenware kli is mekabel tumah. So if you put a sheretz without touching the kli into the ear space of the kli, the earthenware becomes tamei, whereas metal does not become tamei. Another halacha, once a kli is tamei, you put a fruit that's tar into the ear space of an earthenware kli, that fruit becomes tamei, whereas in metal, it does not become tamei. Glass is like metal. It does not become tamei through the ear space. Now, why is it that glass is mitama migaboy? It's mitama if you touch something from the outside. If glass is similar to earthenware, it should not be mitama migaboy. The answer is because glass is similar to metalware in the fact that if glass breaks, you can melt it back and make a new glass, just like you do to metal. You melt the metal and make a new kli. So in some ways, glass is similar to metal. Now, why is it that if you repair a hole in glass, it does not become tamei? In that, it's like earthenware. Shouldn't it be similar to metalware? And the answer is because the concept of repairing and recapturing tumah is derabanan. And the whole idea that a glassware is tamei is midirabanan. That's 2 derabanans. That doesn't go. We don't do 2 derabanans on one item. Now, why is it that glassware, if it's flat, is not mekabel tumah, just like earthenware is not mekabel tumah if it's flat? And the answer is because Chachamim wanted to make a distinction and show people that glassware is the Rabbanan. And therefore, if glassware touches truma, do not burn the truma. Just let it hang as is, let it destroy itself, but you don't go with your hands and burn it. There are only 6 things that you burn, like we discussed yesterday, such as dirt that comes from chutz la'aretz, that we'd burn truma, even though it's the Rabbanan. Rav Ashi says, glassware, in fact, is exactly like earthenware. Besides one thing. Besides the fact that glassware becomes tamei if you touch the outside of it. Why is that? Because glass is see-through. So the outside has the same halacha as the inside. And just like the inside is mekabel tumah, so too, the outside. Nu sugya. Midoraisa, metalware is mekabel tumah. That's a mefurish pasuk. Shimon Meshedach came along and said that metalware, if it has a hole, midoraisa becomes tar. But if you repair the hole, Shimon Meshedach said, it recaptures the original tumah and remains tamei. There was a story with Shimon Meshedach's sister, who was Yanai Melech's wife. She made a big feast for her son, and during the feast, all the dishes became tamei tumas meis. Perhaps somebody died at the meal, and they all became tamei through oil. Instead of waiting 7 days for all the vessels to become tar and go through the whole process of sprinkling them on the 3rd day and on the 7th day with mechatas, she had a great idea. She punched holes through every single one of the vessels and sent them to a professional to repair. Says Beit Shimon Meshedach, that's a no-no. People are going to forget the whole concept of sprinkling the mechatas on the vessels. So instituted a takana that even if you repair a kli, it recaptures the tumah. Now what if Shimon Meshedach said at that time that all tumas, even tumah sheretz for instance, and you repair the kli, the tumah is recaptured? We don't have the idea that people might forget about mechatas. There is no mechatas on tumah sheretz. 2 answers. Abaye says because perhaps we're concerned that people won't poke a large enough hole in the kli. Instead of it being the size of a pomegranate, they'll do less than a pomegranate. Rava says that we're concerned because even if you put a kli in a mikvah and it's tar, you still have to wait until nightfall. Whereas if you poke a hole in a kli and then you repair it, you could use it immediately. So people might come to think that if you put a kli in the mikvah, you don't have to wait till the night. You can use it immediately. So Shimon Meshedach was misakin that no, if you repair a kli, it's not even tar at all. What's the difference between Abaye and Rava? in a case where a person broke the kli completely, flanned it out, and started from new. In that case, nobody's going to confuse that and say, oh, you don't have to go to the mikvah, you don't have to wait until nightfall after you go to the mikvah. Because people see you're dealing with a brand new kli. But people might think that you don't need a full shear of a pomegranate to make a hole. When we're discussing the 18 halachas, that the halachas like Beis Shammai versus Beis Hillel, so we discussed so far the 9 that have to do with psulei truma, and 2 in the Mishnah where you shouldn't read to the candlelight and you shouldn't delouse your clothing in candlelight. And now the Gemara continues with number 12. And that is the concept that a mikvah needs to have 40 sa of rainwater. And yesterday we discussed, if you have 3 of mayim shu'uvim, drawn water, before you get to the 40, and you introduce those mayim shu'uvim to the rainwater, it passes the rainwater. Now we're discussing what constitutes mayim shu'uvim. Machlekes Beis Shammai Beis Hillel, if a person takes any type of vessel, a very large vessel, a very small vessel, in other words, vessels that are not mekabel tum at all because they're so large or so small, or they're made out of material that's not mekabel tumah, such as mud, and you put it under a downspout to catch water. You do it on purpose. You want to catch the water, even if it didn't rain immediately, but you see that there are clouds in the sky, and you think it's going to rain, but it didn't rain immediately, and you went to work and you came back and then it rained. According to everybody, that's considered mayim shuvim, and that makes a mikvah possible. If there are no clouds in the sky, everybody agrees that's not considered mayim shuvim, because you have to have das. You have to think, I want to capture the water. So where is the machlokes? In a situation where there were clouds in the sky, but those clouds went away, and new clouds came. According to Beis Shammai, since I had the proper machshava, you're right, it's on the wrong cloud, but my machshava remains, and therefore this water is mayim shuvim. According to Beis Hillel, it's not considered mayim shuvim, and the halacha is like Beis Shammai because they counted how many people there were, and there were more Beis Shammai than Beis Hillel, and the halacha is like Beis Shammai. Rabbi Yossi says no, that's not one of the 18. In fact, the halacha is like Beis Hillel. What is one of the 18? The fact that all kusi girls, even 1 day old, are considered nida. Why? Because kusim don't believe that a girl under the age of a g'dayla can become a nida. So we cannot trust the kusi, and therefore they instituted that all kusim are nidais. Have a wonderful day.